a flawless bake. We'll be looking at the power of silence. On to phase 2, design your distraction.
3, the Guji system of
Phase 4, callous your mind.
To our 5th and final phase. Up the traditional advice on goal setting and exploring a totally radical yet incredibly effective concept. We're talking about the self-contained bake. Basically, this is a dedicated period of time where you just disappear. You work strictly in the shadows to completely rewire your life, your habits, and your identity without a single drop of external distraction. We're going to look at exactly how to stop talking about your dreams and start quietly baking them into reality.
So have you ever noticed that you get a brilliant idea, you tell your friends, maybe post it online, and then absolutely nothing happens? Like zero progress? Why is that? Well, it's actually because our brains are biologically wired to seek comfort. When you announce your plans way too early, the praise and validation you get from others triggers a fake dopamine reward. Your brain is literally tricked into feeling like, hey, we already achieved the goal. And just like that, the vital drive you needed to actually do the hard, unglamorous work, it's completely wiped out.
Okay, let's dive into this structured 5-step blueprint for a flawless bake. We'll be looking at 1, the power of silence. 2, designing your distraction-free lab. 3, the Guji system of consistency. 4, callousing your mind. And finally, 5, moving from doing to being. Let's get right to it.
Let's start with phase 1, the power of silence. Protect your seed in the shadows. Now, what's really interesting here is the massive contrast between loud announcements and invisible execution. True transformation absolutely requires radio silence. You have to protect your fragile ambitions from the opinions, the doubts, and the premature applause of the outside world. Consider the fake reward. That's what happens when we have a loud mouth. You get that quick hit of dopamine, your motivation spikes for a hot second, and then your drive just plummets. But contrast that with working in the shadows. When you become a mystery, keeping your plans totally close to your chest, you retain all of that kinetic energy. You're forced to rely on calculated strategy and internal validation, which leads to actual, undeniable progress. To put this into perspective, think about the parable of a guy named Simon. Simon was a carpenter who constantly announced his grand plans to everyone, but he never actually finished a single project. Eventually, an elder gave him a profound piece of advice. A seed needs silence to grow. It needs darkness. Let your work speak when it is ready. Taking this to heart, Simon decided to build a simple wooden chair. And this time, he told absolutely no one. He just worked quietly in the evenings. Because there were no expectations and no premature praise, he felt zero pressure, just the quiet satisfaction of the work itself. He built the chair, then a table, and eventually became a master craftsman. He stopped announcing, and he simply started building in secret.
Moving on to phase 2, design your distraction-free lab. Pick targets and remove friction. So, a self-contained period of isolation is completely useless if you don't know what you're actually doing. As the great Jim Rohn said, fuzzy goals produce fuzzy results, period. And if you're thinking, oh, I just lack willpower, well, actually scratch that. Relying on willpower alone is a losing game. First, you need to write down exact 6-month goals. Clarity is absolute power. Next, as the author James Clear points out, your environment will either inspire you or expire you. You must design your space so the productive action is the default action. Make good habits obvious and bad habits completely invisible. Implement what's called a digital sunset to remove screens before bed. And crucially, this is a big one, protect the very first 30 minutes of your day. No inbox, no social media. Give that fresh cognitive energy to your highest stakes task.
All right, section 3, the Guji system of consistency. End the mental negotiation.
Let me tell you about Raphael. He was a programmer who literally couldn't stick to a habit to save his life. He'd start super strong on Monday, start negotiating with himself by Wednesday, and then totally quit by Friday. Sound familiar? Well, he finally beat this chronic inconsistency by adopting a system from ancient Zen temples called Guji. Guji basically means continuous practice without gaps. In a Zen temple, monks don't wake up at 3:30 in the morning and think, should I meditate today? The question doesn't even exist for them. It is an irreversible commitment. So the crucial point is, when you make a commitment irreversible, you stop the exhausting daily debate in your head. You don't negotiate with yourself anymore. You just execute.
Now you might be wondering, why is it so incredibly important to push through that initial resistance without a single gap? Well, it comes down to the number 66. An MIT researcher found that it takes approximately 66 days of performing an action in the exact same context for a specific part of your brain, the basal ganglia, to take over. After 66 days, the behavior literally becomes automatic.
Let's walk through how that 66-day journey actually feels in real life. Day 1 is your irreversible commitment, the start of your bake. By day 21, you're going to hit peak mental resistance. Your brain will literally scream for novelty and comfort. But if you lock down the exact time and the exact action every single day without gaps, you reach day 66. At this point, decision fatigue is totally gone. You no longer need willpower.
Your body and mind just execute the habit automatically, almost like a machine.
Phase 4, callous your mind, pre-solve stumbles, and build mental armor.
Let's move to and see how this builds our resilience. Because life happens, right? Perfect conditions absolutely never exist. We have to actively train our brains to stop viewing effort, pain, and unexpected obstacles as threats to our survival. Step 1 to building this mental armor is intentional discomfort. You have to actively seek things that suck, like cold showers or waking up at 4 a.m., to callous your mind. Step 2 is building a cookie jar in your mind, a mental reservoir of past victories and tough times you've survived. When things get hard, you reach into the cookie jar and it instantly shifts you from self-doubt to self-belief. And step 3 is just brilliant, the chull sheet. When your brain gets a spike of dopamine and begs you to start a brand new, distracting project mid-bake, you don't do it. You write it down on your chull sheet to park the idea. This calms the brain's craving for shiny objects without derailing your current focus.
And this brilliantly illustrates why pre-planning is so absolutely crucial. When you hit a roadblock, making a decision under stress almost always leads to failure. So, you use a contingency matrix to pre-decide. Wake up with a hangover? Boom, 2 push-ups and a 1-minute meditation. Is it pouring rain outside? 15-minute garage workout. Traveling for work? Do squats in the airport bathroom if you have to. The goal here isn't perfection. The goal is to ensure a stumble doesn't turn into a total fall by breaking the chain. You remove the decision-making entirely. When X happens, you just do Y.
Which brings us to our 5th and final phase, from doing to being. Shift your identity through Kaizen.
The ultimate goal of this big isn't just crossing off a habit on a checklist. It's completely transforming who you fundamentally are. To really understand this, we need to look at the staggering mathematical power of the Japanese philosophy of Kaizen, which means continuous small improvement. Listen, if you try to change everything overnight, you'll fail, for sure. But if you get just 1% better every single day, a completely embarrassingly small improvement, the compound interest of that effort means you will be 37 times better at the end of a single year. Not 37%, 37 times better. That's a massive, undeniable shift.
And that leads us to this profound realization. When you transform behaviors into identity, you no longer need willpower. You have to stop saying things like, oh, I'm trying to lose weight, or I'm trying to read more. Through the principle of Gambaro, which is the quiet endurance of discomfort, you endure the friction until you can simply say, I am an athlete, or I am a reader. Your new identity emerges naturally out of your habits. When you fulfill the promises you make to yourself in the shadows, you literally become a completely new person.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final question to think about. What is the very first microscopic step you will take in silence today? I challenge you to abandon the all-or-nothing trap. Don't wait for Monday. Don't go announce it to your friends on social media. Embrace the shadows. Start your self-contained bake right now and let your results make all the noise. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.